What's up, guys? It's your girl Foxy here, and thanks for tuning in. So, you guys really loved the previous video I did on the signs of twin pregnancy, and in that video, it was a little bit of like the signs to look out for to hint that maybe you're pregnant with twins, based on my experience in my pregnancy with my twin baby boys. So I did a little bit of an in-depth video there. I did a few points on what to expect also in your first trimester. I pretty much covered everything from, when I was symptomatic, before even knowing I was pregnant, through to 12 weeks. Now I'm gonna pick up from the 12-week mark, and I'm just gonna tell you my experience being pregnant with twins in the second trimester and how that went for me. So the second trimester and the third were a breeze, but in all honesty, the second trimester was like the best. The morning sickness subsided, I want to say around the 15-16 week mark. In my previous video, I mentioned how wild my nausea was and how the morning sickness just ruled me. That's all it was. And the worst part, guys, was I was going through all that during lockdown with two of my babies, having to entertain two, like a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old at the same time. So it was a mission, but we got through it. And so if you are going through a lot of morning sickness, I hope this will give you some relief. I read somewhere, or maybe my midwife told me this, that when you enter into your second trimester with twin pregnancies or just general pregnancies, even with a singleton, what tends to happen is your placenta takes on most of the hormones. So your body is not feeling the wildness, the sickness and bearing it all. But then, every woman is different. Let's hope this is you in this case. Some women don't even experience morning sickness, even with twin pregnancies. So, kudos to you. But my second trimester was my favorite time. Let me tell you this. I could now eat anything. I felt like I had an appetite, because everything that I was eating prior to my second trimester would just make me sick. And I mentioned then that I could only have toast. I would wake up starving, and the only thing I could actually keep down was toast. So around the 15-week mark, that's when I had the best time, when the morning sickness eased off. I could eat whatever I had, and my sister-in-law was making like delicious meals for me. And then you start craving. You start craving some of like your childhood meals. So I was eating a lot of like African dishes at that time, and I was just having a blast. And then the other really cool thing about the second trimester is you feel more like yourself. So no headaches, no physical, you don't feel the physical pain. Like my body was just like, it looked good too, because your breasts are filling up more. You're obviously gaining some more weight, so you're a little bit more fuller. I just felt so good, and this is when I think my pregnancy glow kicked in, right? And then because I think when you feel good, or you look good, you end up feeling good, and it's a whole package in one, and that's really what was happening for me. It started happening around that 15-week mark. Another really cool thing that I loved was that my bump was getting a lot bigger. I shared in my previous post that the 10-week mark for me was kind of wild, because 10-week pregnancy, you don't see a tummy. But I gave you guys a little preview of the video I sent to my midwife, because there was a bit of a tummy there. Now in my second trimester, it was growing wild. I looked about 20 weeks pregnant. At 15 weeks or even 25 weeks pregnant. And so I had my little belly bump, I was feeling myself, and I looked gorgeous. And I'll insert some photos here of my bump and just with the weeks to show you how the growth was progressing. I really noticed that it grew so much. And so I enjoyed this moment, right? The next thing that I was experiencing, which was super special, was early movement. So I want to even say at 14 weeks, I could feel something like twitching, like when your muscle twitches, Yeah, but in my abdomen, in my lower abdomen. And I thought, is that the babies? Are the babies moving? But then, by the time I got right into my second trimester, man, the movements were wild. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful sensation. And I absolutely enjoyed it. And I mean, they weren't moving enough for anyone to see. So I couldn't like record my tummy moving because you couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. I could feel like little flutters in my tummy. And it was just so special, you know? And that's when I think you really begin to enjoy your pregnancy. And you know, it's becoming more of a reality that there is life growing inside of you. And even more special, there's two lives growing inside of you. And so, you know, you can really look forward to all this. So I had a really great time with my second trimester. However, towards the end of the second trimester, as my babies were getting bigger, obviously there came the weight and the pressure. So this is where things started feeling a bit more uncomfortable, right? But we'll get into that in my third trimester video. But yes, I absolutely enjoyed this. And this is when I really got to shop for maternity clothes. You know, it's a whole situation in the second trimester. I absolutely enjoyed it. And I know some women don't experience this. I know some women have a really tough time with pregnancies in general, where they have, you know, they have morning sickness from the very beginning, and it goes, and if anything, it gets worse, right? And my greatest fear was, because the morning sickness was so horrendous, my fear was of it coming back later on. But what I realized was I never got it back later in my third trimester. But towards the end of my second trimester, I experienced, I think it was just the babies growing, but I experienced a lot of heartburn. So that's something to look out for. But and indigestion, like some food, like I was eating whatever, guys. Like at this point, I was eating whatever. My appetite was big, okay? I was eating whatever was in sight. Like, give it to me, you know, because the past few weeks and few months, I wasn't eating much. I was limited to a few items because of the sickness. So with the eating, I think I may have stepped the mark a little, and I would get, you know, acid reflux. So that's another thing to look out for. But honestly, that's minor compared to vomiting after every meal, or vomiting just, you know, at a whiff of a bad smell or whatever. So I really enjoyed that. So a little bit about the type of twins I had. So you can have, I don't know if I touched on this in the previous video, but you can have, my babies are fraternal twins, right? So they are two boys in two separate sacs with two separate placentas. Now, the two separate placentas is an indication that you're having fraternal twins. Fraternal meaning that they're non-identical, right? And you can figure this out early on in the pregnancy. It really just says that so you have one egg. If you release one egg, the egg splits really early, then you have identical twins. But when they have the two separate placentas, there's a chance that you released two eggs and two eggs were fertilized. So they're practically just siblings, you know, that were born at the same time, that shared space and were born at the same time. Now, what the really cool thing about this is that because they don't share a placenta, they're not identical. There is less risk of twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. There's an illness that, a lot of complications that come with, you know, having identical twins. So kudos to you moms out there who are having identical twins. But you can do this. You know, you got this, sis. Your body can do it for you. You know, just listen to your body, listen to your doctors, and all will be well. I think one thing that made my pregnancy a breeze and just put my mind a little bit at ease, I had an amazing midwife. You know, I think I shared this before, that I had the same midwife. My daughter is 9. She'll be 9 this year. I had the same midwife for her as my son and as the twins, right? And the cool thing about that is she knows my medical history. She knows my care, and you have a bond. So you don't have to reestablish a bond, and because it's a very sensitive thing, pregnancy. And on top of that, having two, you are uncertain. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. So having her there to reassure me, and there's a lot of trust there, right? I'm trusting this person with my body and with these beautiful babies that are growing inside of me. You know, I'm trusting that she knows her business, and you know, and she'll guide me in however way she needs to. And that was amazing, and she did a fantastic job. The only one complication that I actually had, well, I'll say there's two, but there's one that I'll share with you guys, and one that is really important for moms that are expecting twins. Towards the end of my second trimester, I began to have, I didn't have what most women have, where they see like blurs, and they start getting dizzy, and then they faint. I think I can't remember what the actual term is. I'll write it down when it comes to the post edit. But the only thing that I started feeling like, there was one morning when my heart was like beating super fast. I just gotten out of the shower. My heart was beating super fast. I felt like I couldn't catch breath. And then I started feeling dizzy, and I had to sit down. Oh yeah, so it's preeclampsia. It wasn't preeclampsia. I just felt dizziness. I wasn't seeing spots in the face. I just felt really dizzy, and I called out to my husband. My husband was outside washing the car. And so I called out to my daughter, call your dad. And by the time he got there, I was just on the bed. Like, honestly, I felt like I was about to faint. And it happened about 4 times. Come to find out that I was low in iron. So this is very common with twin pregnancies, because you are obviously supporting 2 lives. They can suck a lot of iron out of you, right? So if you're already iron deficient, I would say keep on top of this. And if you feel any dizziness, if you feel lighthearted, like, honestly, don't take that lightly. See your medical advisor or your midwife if you need to, and get it checked up. I got to a point where I almost fainted a few times, and so I went in and got an iron transfusion, and that was it. But yes, that's it for my second trimester experience. I hope that was helpful for you if you're a mom expecting twins. And it all depends on what type of twins you're having. Obviously, your journey will be slightly different. But you know what? You got this. I came out on the other end of it, and it's great. It's been an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But yeah, comment below if you want to see more of these. Thank you to the lady that commented before. I hope you enjoyed this post, and I'll do another one for the third trimester. So you guys take care, and thanks for stopping by. Ciao.